your opinion, which character had the most development, like who evolved the most, matured the most, maybe?
Yeah. I personally feel almost Freya from where we saw her at the beginning to where she ended. I think there was a lot of development there, but also I think with Elijah, I think we got to go back into the Red Door and a lot of backstory and pain and who he used to be and how he became, the man in the suit and all of that. So I think each character definitely showed development, but I'd say those two maybe showed the most. But as far as Freya, she started just wanting nothing but having a family, searching for them her whole life, having to convince them to trust her, and then when she's finally in, she'll do anything to protect her family. And then you see, especially this season, really the development of her deciding for the first time, do I choose my own happiness over this? And I think she tries to balance it, but as you guys saw in a recent episode, she decides Keelan is her family. It's no longer like, I don't want you in my family because I can't always protect you, or I'm scared of this and this. She's like, you are my family. And I think that was a huge step of growth for her. That being said, there's still stuff to come. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much. I've got two questions. I think one you know already.
Okay. Oh, yes. It's if I remember how to say I love you. Wait, okay, hold on. It's like, I know the sound of it, but I can't say it. One more time, you gotta do it for me one more time. Ik. How. Van. Yeah. Ik hou van jou. Okay, ik hou van jou. Thank you. You would think as an actor I'd have a better memory, and I don't. I'm terrible. Sorry.
And the second question is what inspired you in life? Not really as an actress, but in real life.
In real life. Different things. Growing up, definitely my family, very close to my mom. And I have two little brothers. I also have two older sisters, but my siblings have all been very, very important to me, and I got to experience, I don't have any kids yet, but my brothers we have a big age difference. They're a lot younger than me. So growing up, I always felt like another mom rather than a sister. And I kind of got to experience, I think, a taste of that love of a child, and that inspired me a lot just to be a good role model. And just people in general, I mean, meeting you guys is truly inspiring. You guys are just full. I think I talked to a lot of you yesterday about how I get the comment a lot like, oh, you seem so nice and friendly, and I'm like, honestly, it's you guys that bring that out, like day to day there's a lot of, I think, negativity and anger in the world, but being around you guys, it just brings out nothing but kindness and love, and it's so inspiring, and I just wish the whole world could be like this, because I think we'd have a lot less issues. But just little things. There's, of course, lots of things that inspire me, like faith and family and all the big things, but just seeing people be kind and people being genuine and being themselves and being proud of that really inspires me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I never even knew that was a possibility. I didn't grow up acting. I was very involved in school and wanted to be an architect and go to school to study, and I didn't know that it was my passion, and so I want people to know that sometimes your passion, I think Candace said yesterday, finds you. So don't worry if you don't know what that is yet, but it really found me, and I would say I was terrified. I moved to LA and didn't know anyone, didn't know if I would ever get a job. I mean, we still deal with that, when the show ends, we don't know what our next job is gonna be. So there's always that fear, and just, I guess, living fearlessly is sometimes scary. I sometimes wish I could just not care what someone thinks, or not care, not get hurt. but that's part of what makes us human, and that's part of what makes us emotional and be able to relate to other people. But yeah, every day I get scared of certain things, and I just try to remind myself it's all okay, to try not to live in fear. And it usually, almost always, makes sense. As far as my whole life has gone so far, things that were heartbreaks before, you know, I started modeling, and I remember going to New York when I was 18, and the agencies there had all these things to say about me. They were like, they actually even told me one eye, which is true, but closes more than the other one, and that I needed to wear a eye patch and stretch out my other eye, work on the muscle, not kidding. And I just I couldn't take that. But it was heartbreaking because I went to New York thinking someone was gonna be like, yeah, come here, and no one did. So I was heartbroken. But then I ended up going to LA, and I did get, you know, accepted there, and looking back, it makes perfect sense because I think I was meant to find acting, and I don't think I would have done that there. So my point is, every heartbreak, every time I've woken up crying about whether it's a relationship or a job or family, somehow later on it always makes sense and it leads you to where you're going. I can't remember now what the original question was. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent, but yeah.
And I have a funny request for you. I write poetry in English. Yeah,
fantastic.
I read poems from Nate and Daniel. And I love to play with words. I put the longest words existing in English language into my poems.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I hope I understand.
Yes, and I want you to say one of the longest words. It has 45 letters in it.
No.
Yes.
What? Oh my god, I probably won't even be able to repeat it.
I will tell you the definition of the word after you say it. Okay, can you listen and repeat? So the word is Ilagofushirohipapaganurius.
Ilagasha faragoshi bubigida babu. Exactly. Nailed it.
Almost, yes. And it's a synonym of a word good.
Really?
Yes.
And this is an actual English word?
Yes. Yes.
No way.
I can read you two lines from my poem.
I would love to hear.
And all with these words.
That's so cool and unique, by the way. I've never heard of that, like a poet using specifically the longest words in their poetry. That's really cool.
Yeah, okay, so 2 lines. The poem is called On One Love, but only 2 lines. She was a Ilagafushio Hipapaganurius astroblema. Nudistarians hobbies full of rabid cacophia phobias.
Oh my gosh, first of all, it sounded beautiful, and thank you so much for sharing that. It's gorgeous. I need to get a dictionary and figure out these words because I had no idea. That's really incredible. Could you do me a favor? Do you have Twitter?
No, I only have Instagram.
Okay, Instagram. At some point, could you post that because I wanna actually look at it.
I have a poetic account.
Perfect. Tag me in it, and I wanna actually look at it and
It's
see
a
it.
little more about social problems.
For sure. I think it's really, really cool.
A little bit about this experimenting with words.
It's amazing. Congratulations. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You learned new words today.
Thank you. Sorry?
You learned new words today.
I did. Well, kind of. Because I don't know if I can repeat it, but you're right. I definitely.
I wanted to know what the funniest thing was, onset and offset.
Onset and offset. So you guys have probably heard me talk about this before, but Gillies does a really great thing during scenes sometimes, especially if it's a hugging scene. If you hug, he always whispers something in your ear, and you have to try really hard not to laugh. And there's an episode coming up that hasn't aired yet where we hug, and so maybe look out for that. But I was definitely trying not to laugh. But I think I've told you guys this probably last year, but he'll whisper things like really odd things, like, one time I made a tiny mountain out of dandruff, and then like walk away.